Jim, it's great to see you again. And Dan, welcome. This is your first time here as the CEO of the company.
It is. It's my 18th trip, but first time as CEO.
And what is it all about? I mean, I know you guys have these meetings where you get together, a dinner last night where everybody met. And Dan, what can you tell us just from your first time through this?
Well, for me, it was very exciting to get to meet the other CEOs of the companies. While I've met some occasionally, actually being able to network, talk a little bit about our businesses, what's going on in the economy and such is a real benefit.
And Jim, any advice that you can give Dan just from these meetings or other stuff you've seen along the way?
Well, I think the networking is incredible. It's a chance to get the one time a year you get a chance to meet the other CEOs and just compare notes on what they're seeing in the business and the economy. Really smart people in the room, so I always get a lot of value out of it.
Have things changed from an operating perspective with Greg Abel there, who's now kind of in charge of all of these companies, at least on this side of the business?
You know, I think for us it hasn't. It's business as usual, and Greg came out and visited us last year. We took him through our strategy, much as we did with Warren. Our annual plans are in place, and he's supportive. It's been a fabulous transition. He's been a great resource for us.
You two are both in consumer-facing businesses, and that's good for us because it gives us a little bit of a read on what you're seeing in the economy right now. Dan, for you, housing's got to be a really big deal. What can you tell us about the strength of the housing market in terms of what you're seeing? Yeah,
existing home sales is always a big predictor for us for success, and we're seeing good success with that. And what we're doing is we're looking further downstream. We're talking to actual residential painting contractors. They're booked well into this spring and into the summer. We're going into our busy season right now, over 65% of our total revenues in the 2 quarters in the middle of the year. So we're seeing very good things with all the good news out of the economy. Things are looking very bright.
We've got a jobs number that's coming up today. Obviously, jobs ties into the economy and into housing. From what you're seeing, you'd expect good numbers on these things?
We expect good numbers. The one thing about the painting contractor, with the hot economy and job, they're struggling to find workers. That's been a struggle for them. But other than that, the good news in the economy is a benefit.
Jim, what are you seeing right now, just in terms of what people are willing to pay?
It's interesting. I think retail is stable, much more so than it was 2-3 years ago, but I would still describe it as uneven. The spring was a little bit soft. April was better. But I think there are have and have-nots. People are making choices, and they have so many. We had a record year last year, all-time record of 26% growth, and high water marks for the brand in every level. We're up 22% year to date, but you have to earn it. You know, it's all market share. It's not market growth.
The last time we spoke with you, you did talk about concerns about the tariffs and what that meant. Yeah. You said at that point you were kind of looking for ways to exit China and look for manufacturing in other places. Maybe Vietnam was where you were looking at that point? Exactly,
and a lot of our industry is in Vietnam. We were watching it all the way through the fall. We thought they were going to hit January 1st. There was a March 1 date. Hopefully we've got a trade agreement that's nearby, but we had to make a decision. We're making 5 to 10 year sourcing decisions, so we've decided to move the bulk of our manufacturing out of China. We'll be principally in Vietnam. We'll add a third country later, probably next year. But it was a 45% tariff on a running shoe. It just wouldn't have worked. So we've already made decisions to move out of China for the most part.
Does that mean you're not watching the trade talks very closely at this point?
You know, we couldn't wait, and the risk was too significant. And long term, you know, we've got good partners that have capacity in Vietnam as well. So we were able to make that move. It's not as easy for every brand. Some of the factories are now full in Vietnam, but we were able to do it. So it's the right long-term decision for us.
Is there a chance that any of that manufacturing would ever come back to the United States?
You know, we're going to be prototyping in small runs, personalized custom footwear. We think possibly next year, but it's going to be small volumes. It's going to be a long time before the infrastructure, the materials, and the automation, frankly, is ready. There's still a lot of labor in the product.
Dan, let's go back to what you were saying, just about having trouble finding people, the painting contractors having trouble finding people to show up for the job, because it is a tight labor market right now.
Yeah, it truly is. And the thing is, there's lots of work to be had out there. You have the forces of the baby boomers doing less of their own DIY, looking to hire painters. And then the younger folks are dual income, time-starved, and hiring things as well. So when we talk to painting contractors, that's the #1 concern they have, is they have plenty of work. There's work to be done out there, but they can't find people to apply the paint.
I mean, it's not just painting; it's across the home contractor business
It truly
at
is.
large, right? This
Yeah,
is
it
a
truly
big
is.
issue. How do you handle that, or deal with that, or try and tackle that when you're dealing with an economy that is so fully employed?
Yeah, we have some programs in place where we're working with painting contractors now to try to save them time, give them some of the time in their day back. And some of the initiatives we have underway are to do that, and we call them Keep the Painter Painting, keep them on the job sites, give them the tools they need to use their time more wisely.
If there's one issue that you're concerned about, each of you, what's the big thing that you're kind of keeping your eye on at this point? What would you say, Jen?
You know, I still think it's global trade. I think for our economy to really be solid and growing long term, there has to be strong, fair global trade. So we're hopeful that American brands are demanded all over the world, that those doors don't shut, because we've got a great business in Europe. We plan to enter China next year, and we're just hopeful that the energy and emotion around trade gets settled.